Thanks. Thanks for coming. Good to see some familiar faces, some friendly faces. Hopefully they'll still be friendly here in 10 months or so. My wife and I are excited to be back. It's been I'm proud to have this position. It's been a humbling experience. You know, I wish we had a game this Saturday because the excitement in the Big Blue Nation about football is at an all-time high. I really believe that. This state and this university are special to me. This isn't just another job for me. This is personal. I grew up a fan of this football program, played here, have a personal investment in that aspect, and then I've been a supporter. Shoot, I've been a season ticket holder last 5 or 6 years, and I'm excited about this opportunity. This is an opportunity that I wanted to do without question. I'd always dreamed about coming back in the right situation. I believe 100% that this is the right situation. I'm excited about working with Mitch Barnhart. He's committed, fully committed to making Kentucky football a winner both on and off the field. And he's done it before, and we're going to do it again. Really excited about working with Coach Stoops. He has a plan and a vision where he wants to take Kentucky football. He's high energy guy, a great recruiter, great defensive mind, and we're going to add the offensive element and be able to accomplish what he wants to get done. With that in mind, questions?
Neal, did you know Mark Stoops before, and how did this sort of come to you that you came back to join him?
Well, we kind of knew each other in passing a little bit. You know, in the coaching world, you always cross paths, recruiting and those type of things. Didn't really have a personal relationship. We had some guys that we were really close to, guys like Sonny Dykes, who he'd worked for, and you know, obviously I played for here and had a strong friendship with, those type of things. But really, I think kind of what drew us near is he had coached against this offense. He'd been a defensive coordinator at Arizona with Sonny there calling plays in this offense, and he had followed us. Obviously, we played against Bob there at Oklahoma the last 3 years, and he wanted an exciting brand of offense, and I think that's kind of what got us in this situation.
Neal, you know probably as well as anybody the challenges ahead of Kentucky football.
Yeah.
Why do you believe it can be done?
Well, it's been done. You know, Dick, I think it's been done. And the thing about it is it's not like this program's had a couple down years, but it also went through in recent history some of its strongest, I guess, winning. You know, was it 5 or 6 bowl games in a row? And here's the deal. The SEC is a tough conference. There's no question. There's no question. It's the toughest conference in America. I'm coming from a conference that's not chopped liver. I mean, it's week in and week out. It's tough. And I think if you look at the rankings, that'll back that up. But the opportunity to come home, okay, with these people, okay, with the fan support that Kentucky's going to have, and turn this thing around, it will be done.
You know, you're talking about the right situation that brought you back here. Talk about some of the specifics that caused that to happen.
Well, I think those two people, Lonnie, that we talked about, you know, Mitch is fully committed. And I think the financial commitment he's made with the staff, I think shows that. And then with Mark Stoops, a guy that's proven, a guy that I believe in, that without question that I believe in. I think those were the two biggest pieces of that puzzle.
How much recruiting did Coach Stoops have to do with you?
You know, not a whole lot. You know, the thing about it is, anytime you get presented with situations, you know, in this profession, that it's got to be the right situation for your family, and I think that was probably as big a deal as anything. But he didn't have to sell me. I've been sold on Kentucky football my whole life.
The air raid has been brought up a lot. Now, how will it be like the air raid? How will it be different?
Well, Rob, the base plays that you're going to see on Saturday afternoons, when Coach Mumme was here, those base plays are the same. Those base plays are really the same that you're seeing at West Virginia be highly successful. They're the same plays we used at Texas Tech. Oklahoma State's using those same plays. Oklahoma's using those same plays. Those same base plays really haven't changed since 1997 when Coach Mumme brought those to really big-time college football. Now, what we've done is we've made a stronger I guess we've made a more concerted effort to run the football, is the best way to put that. We're playing at a faster pace, and we dress those plays up with motions, with different formations. Those are the things that the fans are going to notice.
Have you pondered the quarterback situation at all? You have 3 kids now, all the same class.
It's a good problem, you know, and it's really not I mean, it's a good situation. We've got 3 guys that can play quarterback in the Southeastern Conference. How we're going to handle that is it's going to be an open competition. Now, I met with those guys, I guess it was Monday of last week, and all 3 guys, good people, very interesting guys, excited about a fresh start. And it's going to be a fresh start, not only for them, but for all the guys on our whole football team. I'm only controlling the offense, but it's a fresh start. And the way we're going to handle it's going to be an open competition. All 3 guys will split the reps a third in spring practice, carry that competition through the summer into fall camp, and see who the best man is.
What about the receiver situation? Have you had a chance to look at that?
You know, not a whole lot. Really have been focused more on the recruiting end than the current personnel. You know, during this dead period in recruiting, I'll probably start peeking at those guys. I think you got to be careful of not watching too much because it's a different system. You don't know what you don't know what the players, where they were at that point in their career, and all those type of things, injuries. So I'll peek at them, just have an idea, but I'm not going to get carried away watching a whole lot of the last couple of years.
Why was it important to you to make sure that you had Chad and John come here with you?
Well, you know, they're coming here with me, but they were sold on Coach Stoops also. They've got a strong investment in this program. I think it's always important when you go into a new situation to have people that are familiar not only with you personally, but with what you want to do. And anytime you're in a little bit of a rebuilding situation, things are happening fast and things need to be done. And those 2 guys have a lot. They know how I want things done. You know, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time teaching them the offense or teaching them how I want things done. They know what I want done. They can take it and run with it.
You said you had dreamed about the opportunity to maybe one day come back. When you put on the UK logo, the pullover again, what kind of emotions or feelings did you have when it was official and you were back?
Oh, it was exciting. You know, I went on my first recruiting trip on Tuesday, and to put on the UK letters and stuff. This is the first time I've been back in 12 years. You know, I really haven't spent much time at all in Lexington. I've gone to a basketball game here and there, but really haven't been in the city, around the university a lot. I follow the program. But when I put that on, it's an easy sell for me. You know, this is a great place to go to school. The fan base is incredible. So it's a really easy sell for me. And when I put that back on, it felt like home.
Yeah, can you talk about your relationship with Tim Couch and if that helped at all in the process?
Well, Tim and I have a good relationship. Obviously, we play together. I hope it helped. You know, obviously, when he didn't return a phone call or 2 during the search process, I had an idea that he may be involved, so I kind of left him alone. But I think it helped. It never helps. It never hurts to have one of the best players in school history on your side. That's for sure.
Neal, talk about
Yes.
it's been said perhaps you may have had a great deal of input into the offensive brain trust that you're bringing back with you.
Mm-hmm.
Is any, talk about that a little bit. If there's any truth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Coach Stoops has been around this offense, for a long time. And if you go back to 1998 when Bob hired Mike Leach, that was probably Mark's introduction to this offense too. And obviously that ended up in a national championship in a couple of years for those guys. So when we started talking about this opportunity here at Kentucky, he wanted to know, he knew it was important up front, Lonnie, for us to have some guys that already knew the system, and those were in place. And then really it was up to him to make those final hires. I made suggestions about who I thought would be good fits here. Obviously with Chad playing here, being recruited here, his wife being a very good better athlete than him, by the way, but being a very good basketball player here, those things helped. And then, John was a great player here, was an all-SEC center, obviously from one of the strongest high school programs in the state. A lot of family connections here, not only in his family but also in his wife's. So those things were also strong considerations for Coach Stoops when he made those hires.
A couple of recruits have mentioned that you've said, hey, watch this video.
Yeah.
To get an idea. What's been the reaction to that? The reaction early on the recruiting trail to just, the potential of the offense here. Well,
the first thing is Texas Tech Media Relations did a great job making me look good there. But that's a deal that we used a lot. We self-promoted a lot there and used videos and those type of things. They did a good job. A lot of credit goes to a guy named Kirk Hurd. He's the one that produced that video. But we used that at Texas Tech to sell. Used it through social media, on our Twitter and Facebook, those type of things. And kids really relate to those. It's one thing to really talk and tell people about, hey, this is what we're going to do. you know, and listen to it vocally, and you can show them on the drawing board and all that kind of stuff. But when they see it with their eyes, when they hear touchdown, touchdown, touchdown a lot, then you know, they can feel the excitement in it.
How complex is the offense? Tim Couch used to say that we only ran about 15 plays out of about 50 different formations.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's really a simple system. The first 3 days in spring practice, we'll install the whole system. You know, and it's a system that the quarterbacks will be able to learn in a 2 to 3 week period while I'm gone recruiting. They can watch some videos, and really they're going to have a good idea of what we want to do when I get back.
Why does it work so well, man?
Well, I think what it does is the tempo really affects people. Okay, the tempo really affects people. The second thing that happens is when you spread the field out, okay, skilled people, there's a bigger, and I'm trying to think the best way to put this, Dick, is the skilled people are easier to recruit, okay? You can find, there's not a great deal of difference in the number one wide receiver in the country and the number 25 receiver in the country. There's not that much difference at all, okay? And we can recruit a lot of good skilled people, put them in space, okay, and make people tackle in space. I think that's the number one thing.
Speaking of wide receivers, do you have an idea you got an idea about the wide receiver coach?
Well, that's kind of a work in progress where Coach Stoops put a great staff together so far. I think we need 2 guys to hire still, and it's really going to be a work in progress. I think we're going to interview some guys down at the national convention in, whenever that is. I don't even know. I've been going 100 miles per hour.
One of the stories I heard was that when Mark first started talking to you about the job, he said, I understand that you've got a couple of possible interviews for head coaching opportunities. Go ahead and pursue those. Get ready for that'll help you with your future. And that made a big impression on you. Is that true? And can you just talk about the little bonding process between you and Mark?
Yeah, that really told me what kind of guy he was, John. He said, go through the process. And when he said, hey, I've been in your shoes. Okay, a lot of times people, you know, coordinators step into that head coaching position and everything changes. They forget what it was like to be a coordinator. And here's a guy that's going and getting pulled in a lot of different directions. And when he said that, I remember getting off the phone. I told my wife, I said, hey, this is a good guy. I said, this is a good person. This is a guy that understands what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. I said, I can work for him. I want to work for him. Played a major role, if that answers.
Yeah, what was kind of the reaction like of your family as you were going through the process, and then once you finally got it settled?
Yeah, well, they didn't know a whole lot. they were kind of kept on the outside, really. They're excited. They're really excited. You know, there's a little bit of hesitation at first, not on my end at all, but when you start, you know, my whole family's UK fans. They grew up Kentucky fans. They've had a lot of season tickets. They're UK fans. Whether I'm here or not, they're UK fans. And there's always a little hesitation from a coaching perspective because I've been gone other places. You know, at Texas Tech, I was 16 hours away. And you guys know how the profession is. You created some of the things in the profession, so you all know how it is. But there's a lot of pressure, and that's the way it should be, really. I mean, this is a big dollar business, and there's a lot of pressure. And they were isolated from that when I was away. Now it's going to be at their front door. You know, and those are things that, when it got serious, those are discussions that I had with my family, my wife's family, just to make sure they understand, and they do, and they're fired up about it.
You know, what advice or instruction did you give your 3 quarterbacks heading into the offseason?
Let's get better. I mean, that's simple. I said, hey, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time watching what you've done before. There's going to be some fundamental things that are non-negotiable that we're going to do. You all are going to start on the same level playing field. You know, best man wins. I don't have any ties to any of the 3 of them. I'm going to coach them like they're my own. Okay, like I recruited them in the whole deal. But the best man's going to play. Okay, and then you've got to be good teammates. You know, those are the brief discussions I had with them. And they're really good kids. I mean, all 3 of them are doing well academically. They're all 3 doing what they're supposed to do in the weight room. And I'll say this as a whole. And I can only speak on my side of the ball. The first couple things that I always do when you go into a new situation is you want to see if there's been any off-field issues, which they've been very, very few. You want to see where the group stands academically, and these kids are in great shape academically. So I think that's a strong sentiment to the last coaching staff.
You talked about the reception and the excitement of some of the fans out here. What's the reception been like on the recruiting trail for you overall?
Well, they're excited. You know, I think anytime you go into a new situation, okay, and you have something to fall back on, because we had a lot of success at Texas Tech and at Troy, and when you're talking to skill players in particular, okay, and you can talk about how you're going to get them the ball, and you can show them, okay, and you can show stats and proven results, that's going to pop their eyes open, okay. And there's and at certain spots, our scholarship numbers are low, and the opportunity to play early is going to be here, and that's another thing that perks their ears up.
You know, you were not, if memory serves, and with all due respect, a ferociously recruited guy when you got here.
I was very average, Dick. I better get better players than I was. I can promise you.
And yet you had success here, and you obviously made yourself something professionally. How much of that was part of your message now to recruits of what this place and this system can do for you?
Yeah, well, what I sell, I guess, Dick, is better is what hard work and being prepared. That's the bigger message that I sell. I mean, I tell everybody that I come in contact. I was a very average player. Okay, when I got to the University of Kentucky, I was a very average player. Okay, and I think that average players make really good coaches a lot of times because you got to figure out ways to be successful. But I'm not selling them on myself as much. I'm just, when I talk to people, I sell them on our vision. Okay, and the number one thing we talk about is, you know, our stadium will have 70,000 people in it. Okay, it will. There's a lot of excitement, and our fan base is strong. Okay, and it's going to be an exciting brand of football. It's a young coaching staff that can relate to players, and those are the things that we're really selling here early in the process.
Coming from Texas, is that a state that you think Kentucky can recruit to in the future?
Well, Texas has great football players. You know, I don't know if that'll be necessarily a home state, so to speak, for us recruiting, but I think we can go in there and pluck a couple players each year.
You know, what kind of influence has Tony Franklin had on your overall career getting back to this point where you are now?
Well, he gave me a chance at Troy. You know, I was in the 1AA ranks at Delaware, and he got the job at Troy and hired me, and I'll always be grateful for that. He's a guy that had a lot of influence. He helped get me here. Probably was the one responsible for me getting here as a player, and he's had as much responsibility as anybody about where I'm at in the coaching ranks so far.
Yeah, you may not have had a chance to look at your personnel enough to answer this, but they've run more of a pro style for the last 8-9 years. Do you expect that you'll have to turn over a lot of types of players? Is there a big difference in what you were recruited for that style as opposed to what you want to run?
Well, they were spread first 2 or 3 games. If my memory recollects till Max got hurt, I think they had a lot of spread principles in there. But we're gonna fit our system to the players we got. You know, and this is the message I had for our offensive coaches: is we've got to go get recruits, no question. But our biggest recruiting deal is getting the guys we have sold on our system, and maximizing the guys that we have on campus right now, because those are going to be the biggest players for us in the spring, or in the fall. I'm sorry.
Have they been receptive so far? I mean, have you felt good about the meetings you've had with?
Yeah, well, you know, this is finals week, so I got to meet several offensive kids on Monday, and we met as a group on Monday. They're eager. You know, these guys want to be successful. You know, and I think a lot of it shows. I watched a little bit of the last game there against Tennessee, and those guys played with great effort. It wasn't a lack of effort. They want to be successful.
You mentioned the run game earlier. You talked about your philosophy on that, how it evolved, because the guy you played for here at times, you liked it that much.
No, that's true. You got to run the football. And I think in this league, you definitely have to run the football. You got to keep defenses off balance. You know, we're not going to be in a position where we can drop back and throw the ball 50 and 60 times just because if you look at the top of the draft, there's a lot of defensive linemen coming from the SEC. So, you know, we've got to mix in the run. We've been creative with that. We ran the ball very well at the start of last year until we lost some people at Tech. The other thing it does, it makes it easier for your defense. You know, keeps your defense off the field, and those things are important.
You mentioned going 100 miles an hour, obviously a tough conference, trying to learn your new kids, still recruit. How difficult is this thing coming into it, and how fast do you think you can put it back on the right track?
Well, you know, those are things that I really hadn't sat down and thought about a whole lot. But it's been a whirlwind. You know, somebody told me, what are we, 7 days from Christmas right now? And I'm going back to Texas tomorrow, so I'll see my little girl, so I'll be reminded very instantly when I get back off the plane. But as far as a turnaround, it's hard to say till I can go out there and work with the guys. You know, this system's been successful everywhere we've been. We've been able to turn some teams that weren't very good on offense, turn them around quickly. How quickly it can be done, I don't know. It will be done. It's going to take some work, though, for sure.
How often will the quarterback be under center?
Well, we really struggled. We had a great quarterback at Texas Tech the last 2 years. And the most nerve-wracking play that I ever had was when we got under center because he just wasn't very good at it. So the good thing here is these guys, all three of these guys, spent a lot of time under center last year. So those things we'll definitely incorporate that into our system in the spring.
What are the attributes of a great quarterback running the system?
Well, I'll kind of off the field things are the number one thing. Okay, he's got to be a man of character. He's got to be a tremendous leader. He's got to work tremendously hard. Those are the things. Second thing, okay, he's got to be a good decision maker. All right, these are football aspects now. He's got to be a good decision maker, and he's got to be accurate with the football. Those are the two top priorities, and that's what we'll instill in these guys, the three guys that are here. And from a recruiting standpoint, from here on out, those are going to be the two top priorities to look for.
Neal, when you walk back in, there's obviously some work that needs to be done on Commonwealth Stadium, but you hadn't been around, as you mentioned, in about 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
When you walk back into the facilities and what you saw and what they've done over the past 5 or 6 years, what do you think?
Well, they're definitely better than when I was a player here. I can tell you that. No, we have the facilities in place to be successful. There's obviously some things that Mitch probably wants to get done. Those are above my pay grade, so I don't really spend a whole lot of time worrying about them, to be honest with you.
You're losing two really key leaders and offensive linemen, and Matt Smith and Larry Warren.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do about it?
Can we get Larry? Can we get him another year?
Good luck with that. Have you thought at all about the line and
Yeah.
specifically the center position?
Well, we've got there's two young guys there that they got some time last year. We'll also maybe look at moving a guy that snapped a little bit during high school. We've had those discussions. I'm really excited about some of those young guys that are on the line. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but other than those two guys, most of the big guys that played last year are young kids. Darian Miller's a great. I think he can be a tremendous left tackle in this league. The Swindle kid is a guy that I'm really excited about. He played a lot of football as a true freshman. But the center position, we ask him to do a lot also. He makes a lot of calls. We take a lot off the quarterback and put it on the center. So that'll be a top priority in the spring.
You guys look at a junior college guy maybe there or no?
Well, it's early. It's hard because we're late coming in the process. Recruiting's really different now. It's an 18 to 24 month relationship building, and we're really coming in on the back end, and we're going to be able to flip some kids for sure. It's hard on junior college kids because signing day's tomorrow, so we're really talking about a week to try to get a guy flipped, so we probably won't go that route.
Chad Scott didn't have a position title in the release. Is there any more thoughts about what specifically he'll be coaching?
Well, it's really going to determine kind of what we do with that last spot. He's a guy that's got some versatility. He's been a running back coach most of his career. He spent a lot of time with our receivers at Texas Tech also. So, we're just kind of waiting to see. We want to hire the best possible guy in that last spot on offense.
A couple more. What's your sales pitch? There's been a lot of good kids in the state of
Yeah.
Kentucky end up leaving the state to go play somewhere else. What's the sales pitch to get those kids to stay home?
Come be a hero. You look at the guys that have played well at the University of Kentucky that are homegrown products. They come back here to live, and they have good lives. Some of the guys that have gone on other places, they come back home, and the name recognition, the notoriety is not the same. And the other thing is, if you build this football program, if you're a Tim Couch, you're an Andre Woodson, you're those type of kids, and those are just quarterbacks. I can go into position players too. In a place where you have a personal investment, where you grew up a fan, because we all know in here that the most kids in this state grow up to being Kentucky fans. They wear blue from an early age. I was one of them. I can tell you that. If you can do that at the state school, then it's going to be a special thing. And to do it, there's a good opportunity that you're going to stay employed for a long time here.
Neal, when you were afar,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm sure you kind of kept an eye on things here. They were winning and going to bowls and upsetting LSU. What were your thoughts at that point, if any, about just what was happening at your own?
I was proud. I was really proud of what they were able to do. my grandfather, who's since passed, I can remember it was we were celebrating his 90th birthday. We had a bye week at Troy, and I was down in Mayfield celebrating we had him a surprise birthday party that we actually delayed because Kentucky and LSU went in overtime, right? So we actually delayed the start of the party. We had to drive him around a little bit so the people at the house could finish watching the game. So, you know, a tremendous amount of excitement and energy. You know, I always kept up with it. You know, I wasn't here on a daily basis, but I always kept up with it. And that was an exciting time for sure, especially because, you know, Jacob Tammy right there in Danville was playing a big role in that. And so I was probably following it closer then than I have the last couple of years.
Were you surprised that year after year they were on the bowl?
No, not surprised at all. Not surprised at all. I mean, because, again, the fan base is so strong here. You know, Kentucky basketball gets a lot of notoriety, and it should. Okay, I'm as big a Kentucky basketball fan as you're going to see. I've been to the Final Fours. I mean, so all that kind of stuff. But you know, Friday nights in the state are huge. You know, this deep down, and I try to tell this when I've been in Texas and in Alabama and those type of places, I try to explain to them that high school football is huge in the state of Kentucky, and there is a tremendous amount of fan support for our football program and just football in general in this state. And that gives you a chance to build a successful program. And Coach Brooks did that, and he built on that. And that's something that Coach Stoops is going to do also.
Folks, thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Appreciate you coming.